Channel 24 Midnight News, streaming live from the capital Algiers, and coming up next in our news program. Algeria and Italy agreed to reinforce cooperation in the field of energy, notably the production and transport of hydrogen. In one of the deadliest single incidents in the occupied West Bank in 2 decades, Zionist forces killed at least 10 Palestinians, including a woman, on Thursday. The heads of social and trade union organizations of the group of Latin American and Caribbean states approved a resolution supporting the Sahrawi people and their just cause. Following the Morocco Gate scandal, EU Parliament decided to cancel all missions to the kingdom in 2023. Hello again and welcome. Starting from Algeria, Italian Prime Minister's visit to Algeria has promoted the bilateral relations of Algiers and Rome in regard of diverse issues. This included a political settlement which has been hailed between the two countries, especially in what concerns territorial issues including Libya, Mali, Western Sahara and Palestine. Osama Ayadi.
The dynamism of Algerian-Italian relations and the depth of the common will to develop bilateral cooperation was once again translated through the visit of friendship and work that the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni recently led to Algeria. This poured into a source of rapprochement and moving forward towards building a real strategic partnership between Algiers and Rome. Meloni's visit carried messages of complete agreement on many issues of common interest on the territorial level. Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune affirmed the unity of perception regarding the proposed solution to end the crisis in Libya, which is considered a priority for the two countries.
فبالنسبة للأزمة الليبية أكدنا على ضرورة التوصل إلى حل توافقي أساسه تنظيم الانتخابات ودعم مسار المصالحة الوطنية الليبية في إطار الحوار الشامل الذي تقوده الأمم المتحدة.
The Malian file also topped the agenda during discussions of the two parties. Both leaders showed consensus on the need for implementing the peace and reconciliation agreement. They stressed on enabling the Malian people to receive political and financial support from the international community and strengthening the role of the UN mission.
أما عن الوضع في مالي فشددنا على وجوب التطبيق الفعلي لاتفاق السلم والمصالحة المنبثق عن مسار الجزائر وعبرها عن الإرادة المشتركة للتنسيق في مسعى مرافقة الإخوة في مالي وتمكينهم من الدعم السياسي والمالي من طرف المجتمع الدولي بما في ذلك عبر تعزيز دور البعثة الأممية لمينيسما.
The momentum of the Algerian-Italian rapprochement in the light of Meloni's visit was also reflected in Rome's position on the Sahrawi issue, which the Algerian president described as a positive and balanced position.
وفيما يتعلق بقضية الصحراء الغربية أنوه بالموقف الإيجابي والمتوازن لإيطاليا الداعي إلى إيجاد حل عادل لهذه القضية في إطار ما نصت عليه قرارات الأمم المتحدة وبما يمكن الشعب الصحراوي من حقوقه المشروعة.
The convergence of visions and viewpoints did not exclude the Palestinian cause through the joint affirmation of the firm and supportive position of the Palestinian people and their support in defending their legitimate rights in order to establish their independent state with Al-Quds as its capital. The parties insisted on the needs of the Zionist occupation to comply with the resolutions and regulations of the United Nations to enable the state of Palestine to become a full member of the United Nations.
In the same line of thought, the historical step Algeria and Italy made as they agreed to develop projects aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions and Possibly building a pipeline to transport hydrogen to Italy will be a benefit for both countries in the Mediterranean area as well as Africa and Europe. Morobleyo.
The draft of deals and warm words exchanged during Meloni's visit to Algeria reflect a traditional affinity between Rome and Algiers. This rapprochement has become an example in building political and economic relations for mutual benefit for the two countries and peoples. The historical partnership in energy between both countries extends and strengthens Algeria's position in the presence in the Mediterranean. The Trans-Mediterranean pipeline is a key channel for Algeria to replace the Russian supplier in southern Europe. Rome is pushing to further increase its energy imports from Algeria, hoping to act as a hub for supplies between Africa and northern Europe in the coming years.
ومضينا الاتفاق اليوم على أساس بداية الدراسة ثم الإنجاز في أنبوب يكون أنبوب خاص. ما هوش أنبوب مثل الأنبوب الموجود حاليا، لأنه أنبوب سيضم أولا الغاز، ثانيا هيدروجين، الأمونياك وحتى الكهرباء.
Gas-rich Algeria and its partner Italy together work on expanding the horizons of energy exchanges. This could be represented in green hydrogen exports and can be of support for Algeria to be a prominent energy supplier in the Mediterranean. Meloni's bilateral visit to Algeria aimed at securing Italy's energy supplies ended with Algerian affirmation to support Italy.
جددت للسيدة ميلوني حرص الجزائر على تعزيز مكانتها كشريك استراتيجي لإيطاليا في المجال الطاقوي والتزامها بدورها كممول موثوق على الصعيدين الإقليمي والدولي، وكذا الأمر بالنسبة للاستثمار الصناعي بإيطاليا في الجزائر.
The Algerian leadership has proven its willingness to promote the Algerian energy provision in southern Europe in specific and entire continent in general. Indeed, this will ease the energy transition to gradually abandon gas in the operation of power stations and gas-life bases and replace it with solar energy in partnership with the Italian Eni.
And in this regard, given the strong relations between Algeria and Italy within the world's geopolitical changes, we have previously talked with Mr. Mark Law, who is an international relations expert and a security analyst from Italy, and he had this to say.
A new pipeline will be of extreme importance in terms of supplying gas to Europe. Now, we have to be very blunt and we have to be very honest, and we have to say that Russia's invasion of Ukraine created an energy crisis, and thankfully Algeria has been in the position to respond to Europe's requirements. So if we can build a means via which create the conditions whereby Italy can represent an energy hub to the rest of Europe, then we're already off on the right foot. The benefits that this will bring are undoubtedly opportunities to bring other European nations closer to Algeria. It's a rather interesting moment because Giorgia Meloni, the Italian Premier Giorgia Meloni's visit to Algiers last week was very, very significant, and it served the purpose of demonstrating just how important it is to build stronger relations with Algeria and indeed the rest of North Africa and the rest of the African continent. But starting with a firm relationship with Algeria, Italy can, without a shadow of a doubt, benefit from this and bring other beneficial opportunities to other European nations and therefore to Algeria and other African nations.
Algerian Sonatrach Group and the South African Sasol company announced the launch of the largest hydrogen production projects in Italy. In a joint statement, the two energy companies revealed that they are cooperating on a project in Sicily to produce hydrogen and low-carbon natural gas. The same source explained that hydrogen and gas produced using renewable energy will be used to remove carbon from the two production sites and can be used to meet other potential needs in the region. The two companies, which have facilities in Sicily, did not give any financial details in the statement. Still with Algeria, the Algerian government and the gas exporting countries forum signed an agreement requiring Algeria to host Gas Research Institute. The agreement signed on the Algerian side by the Secretary General of Foreign Affairs, Ammar Blani, and the Secretary General of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum, Mohammed Hamel, aims to establish a research institution working on finding technological solutions to enhance the position of natural gas as a resource for the energy transition.
Algeria, which is a founding member of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum, has always defended and supported the role of gas as a crucial element in sustainable development. Algeria today is honored to host this institute, which will endeavor to find efficient and innovative technological solutions, paving the way for the consolidation of the use of natural gas in the process of energy transition. Undoubtedly, it is a sign of friendship and trust of Algeria's position and its leading role in strengthening dialogue and harmony among member states, and a recognition of its efforts, invigorating Forum as active organization on the international scene.
Secretary General of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum, Mohammed Hamel, revealed the continuation of global gas crisis during the coming years, expecting a rise in the global demand for natural gas by 36% in the horizon of 2050.
It's expected that natural gas will have more importance in the future, as global demand will increase by 36% by 2050. Its share in the global energy mix will increase from 23% today to 26% by 2050. There is an existing and a big energy crisis, and I think that we will be affected by this crisis in 2023, and it could even last until 2025 or 2026.
The Algerian Prime Minister, Mr. Ayman bin Abdulrahman, said that the modernization of Algerian customs is an imperative to position itself within the ranks of global customs in light of dynamic international economic climate. In a speech he delivered during the celebration of International Day of Customs in the Algerian capital, bin Abdulrahman stressed that the strategic position of the Algerian Customs Service as a protector of the borders made it receive special attention from the high authorities of the country in view of the task it performs.
The digitization of Algerian customs is a necessity on account of the scale of the challenges it faces, which imposes on it a positioning amongst global customs in light of an international economic environment characterized by an endless dynamic. For this, focus has been put on digitizing the system and working to enhance it with a new and integrated information system.
The Chief of Staff of People's National Army, General Saïd Chengriha, met on Thursday with his French counterpart as part of the fourth and last day of his official visit to France. A statement of Ministry of National Defense indicated that during this meeting, the two parties examined the prospects as well as the ways and means to consolidate cooperation in military and security fields. The preparatory meetings for the 70th session of Conference of the Parliamentary Union of Member States of Organization of Islamic Cooperation began on Thursday here in Algiers. Participants stressed that holding the meeting in Algiers constitute a real turning point in the course of the Union and a new stage in the history of parliamentary relations between Muslim countries. Palestinian cause is the main issue on the meeting's agenda.
We would like to thank the Algerian Parliament with its two chambers, the Council of the Nation and the People's National Assembly, for their outstanding role as part of the member states of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and their relentless efforts in preserving and consolidating the gains of the Union for the benefit of the Islamic nation. We are convinced that this conference, which is being held in Algeria, will constitute a real turning point in the course of the Union and will achieve the success that we all aspire to.
In one of the most tragic attacks this year, the occupation forces in Palestine killed 10 Palestinians in the city of Jenin. Following the attacks, the Palestinian Authority said it was ending its security coordination with the occupation authority in the occupied West Bank. Nabil Khazini.
They are still doing what they have always been doing. Only in one day, the occupation forces in Palestine have killed 10 Palestinians during an extensive storming in the West Bank. We are just in the first month of this year, and already 30 Palestinians have been killed. Last year was one of the deadliest, and this one doesn't seem to be any different.
The massacre that the Zionist occupation forces committed today morning in the city of Jenin confirms the racist, fascist, and criminal right-wing occupation government. This aggression, in addition to the continued violations at the Al-Aqsa Mosque and of the rights of the Palestinians, show that this government insists on escalating the situation.
This heinous massacre made the Palestinian presidency to declare it was ending its security coordination with the occupation authority in the West Bank. A move the United States said it was a misstep. However, Palestine says that after the deadly attacks in Jenin, security cooperation with the occupation authority no longer exists.
In light of the repeated aggression against our people and the undermining of signed agreements, including security, we consider that security coordination with the occupation government no longer exists as of now.
A wave of condemnations from the inside and from the international world followed these deadly attacks. Many Palestinians in the West Bank raised their voices to condemn the irresponsible acts by the occupation forces, with the hope that their voices might be heard.
The heads of social and trade union organizations of the group of Latin American and Caribbean states in their first meeting in the Argentine capital, Buenos Aires, within the framework of the 7th Summit of Heads of State and Government of the group of Latin American and Caribbean states, approved a resolution supporting the Sahrawi people and their just cause. The forum, titled Solidarity with the Polisario Front and the Sahrawi Republic, concluded with the affirmation of the solidarity of people of Latin America and Caribbean with just struggle of the Sahrawi people against colonialism led by the Polisario Front in order to complete sovereignty over the entire territory of the Sahrawi Arab Republic. Reports citing sources from the European Parliament said that the latter cancelled or postponed all planned trips to Morocco during the first 6 months of the year, following the corruption scandal that affected the institution and which involved the Rabat. Morocco is heavily involved in the corruption scandal that affected the European institution. A judicial inquiry launched by the Belgian Federal Prosecutor's Office last December is still ongoing. More than 200 people protested outside Lebanon's Justice Palace on Thursday over efforts to derail an investigation into the deadly 2020 Beirut port explosion, as top judges cancelled the meeting to discuss the fate of the inquiry. Early on Monday, Judge Tariq Bitar announced he was resuming his investigation into the blast that killed more than 220 people after 13 months of suspension.
In the absence of justice and in the absence of holding anyone accountable, the Lebanese state is facing a very serious risk of disintegration, where people feel they can no longer resort to the state and its key organs to actually protect themselves and seek justice.
The Turkish foreign minister said that Thursday the next three-way meeting scheduled for February with Sweden and Finland on their NATO base was postponed due to what he called the current political environment. Speaking at a news conference, Kafazoglu also said there is no offer to evaluate Sweden's and Finland's NATO membership separately.
Şimdi bu ortamda üçlü toplantının
There will be no meaning to that meeting under the current circumstances. What is the aim of this trilateral mechanism? We put the agreement on the table and go through each article and check what did Finland and Sweden do about them. But as the current situation will shadow this process, we delayed the meeting as it won't be a healthy one.
sağlıklı bir toplantı olmayacağı için ertelendi.
Russia pounded Ukraine with missiles during the morning rush hour on Thursday, killing at least one person in Kiev and damaging energy infrastructure in the Black Sea region of Odessa. Hussam Aberkan.
Russian forces fired another rush of missiles and self-exploding drones in an early dozens provinces of Ukraine early Thursday, causing the first attack-related death of the year in Kiev and killing at least 11 people in all. Odessa residents queued to fill up water bottles, facing another water supply outage after missile strikes hit crucial power infrastructure facilities in the surrounding region, causing blackout in the city. This comes as a retaliatory response for sending Leopards and Abrams tanks to Kiev. Poland's prime minister thanked Germany on the occasion for the decision to send tanks to Ukraine, saying that Leopards are there to defend democracy.
Today we talk a lot about tanks. It is really good that the decision was made by the German government on supporting Ukraine with Leopard 2 tanks. Tanks are not there to drive in a parade. Tanks are produced to support those who defend their freedom and sovereignty.
Defense Minister Boris Pistorius in turn says Germany expected to deliver the promised Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine at the end of March, beginning of April. After weeks of hesitation, the United States and Germany announced on Wednesday the delivery of heavy tanks to Ukraine, taking a new step in military support for Kiev in a run-up to possible counter-offensive against Russia.
Let me emphasize that we did not hesitate. I will repeat it as many times as necessary. We did not hesitate. We negotiated. We spoke to our allies, to our partners, and to our friends to figure out what's the best thing to do right now. And that takes time.
After serious military setbacks on the ground in late summer and fall, the Kremlin in October began regularly hitting Ukraine's transformers and power plants, each time immersing millions of civilians in dark and cold.
Protests against French government's plans to raise the retirement age had muted impact on energy sector on Thursday. The first day of 48-hour strikes lowering hydropower output and curbing some refinery deliveries. And electricity supply from the Belleville 1 nuclear reactor was lowered to 1 gigawatt due to the strike. At all refineries, strike participation also decreased, although deliveries were partially disrupted.
The anger is deep-rooted. No one at all wants that reform which especially complicates things for poorer people and will impact women in particular. So there is deep-rooted anger, and this will undoubtedly turn into action in the coming days.
That's all we have for now. Thank you so much for being with us. For more updates, you can follow our social media platform. And for now, all I can say, good night.